Hey everyone, it's me, Aimee. I am back. I know I have been very quiet on YouTube the last few weeks.
Sorry about that.
I've been taking some time to step back and recharge and just generally enjoy life, as we come out of our lockdown. I don't know about you guys, wherever you are, but here in Singapore, we have shifted to phase 2 where we're allowed to go out and eat and visit our friends as long as we maintain social distancing and we do not meet in more than 5 groups. So that is honestly good enough for me because it has been so long since I was able to see my friends. So anyway, I've been busy with that. Oh, and also I started a TikTok. I know, I am so late to the game, but you know what? It's like pretty freaking entertaining. But anyway, back to the topic of this video, which is going to be all about acne. Oh my gosh, I have been in a constant fight with acne, pimples, blackheads, problematic skin in general since I was like 13. And if you're new to my channel, oh, by the way, welcome. Sorry, forgot to say earlier. If you are new, I am a fashion model, so as you probably know, having good skin as a model is probably one of the most important features if you would like to do a lot of work in this industry. Especially for models like me who do a lot of work with beauty and skincare clients and that kind of related work where you have a lot of close-ups. I am so incredibly lucky and grateful to have been able to work with really great beauty brands in my career as a model so far, but honestly, my skin wasn't always clear. I had my fair share of struggles, especially when I was first starting out. So today I'm going to be sharing a bit about my struggles with acne as a model and what I ended up doing about it. So be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and let's get right to it. So far in my career as a model, every now and then I would get really lovely comments about my skin, and while I really am very happy to hear that, honestly it wasn't always like that. I had so many problems with my skin before, and when I say that I've been in a constant battle with acne for over a decade, I really mean that. Like even now, although I have good skin days, I also have some bad skin days, and that is honestly totally normal, but it is nowhere compared to how much I struggled with acne and skin when I was younger. Basically since I started high school, I had tons of like spots around my face. They weren't necessarily all blackheads or whiteheads, but they were, I think they're called comedones or something like that, but they were basically just like bumps in my skin. It was obviously clogged, and it made me feel so self-conscious and so shy, and especially when you're going through puberty and you're entering high school, everything plus bad acne all compounded together just makes every day so difficult. At the time, my older sister was actually in boarding school, and my mom never had problematic skin when she was younger. My little sisters obviously still had very perfect baby smooth skin because they were still children. I was really kind of left on my own to kind of figure out what was actually going on with my skin. Also at the time, there wasn't as much knowledge about skincare products, skincare ingredients as there is now. So I basically had absolutely no idea what to do with it. I just really kind of hoped that one day I would wake up and it would all just magically disappear. But anyway, while I was struggling with this, I would always steal my mom's foundation and wear it to school because I was embarrassed about the spots on my face. Whenever I would go for sleepovers, I would sleep in my foundation because I didn't want my friends to see how my skin actually looked like. And it was just a horrible time, and you can tell that I was in this like really horrible vicious cycle where I had pimples. I would wear makeup to cover up those pimples, and that would end up clogging my pores more and lead to more pimples. So that was just like a cycle that just kept on going and going. And to add on to that, I think it wasn't until a few years later when my little sisters started having the same issues as me when it comes to skin, but we just have bad skin genes. We just genetically have very sensitive, reactive skin. So that definitely made the problem a lot more difficult to deal with. But anyway, when high school ended and I moved to Hong Kong to model full-time, I remember never booking jobs. I have a very commercial face, which I had always been told would do very well with beauty and skincare stuff, but whenever I went to castings for those jobs, I would just never end up booking them. But it wasn't until one day when I walked into the agency and my agent had actually bought me this cleansing oil, which I still use now, by the way. It's the one from Fankle. It's a really great cleansing oil. But anyway, she had bought me a bottle of this cleansing oil and had told me that a lot of casting clients had gotten back to her and said that they like how I look, but they cannot book me because my skin is just too problematic. I was 17 at the time, and I know that, you know, my agent passing this on to me came from a good place, and I really appreciate that she did because it introduced me to this amazing product that I still use. But at the time, I actually felt incredibly gutted and sad because I felt like I was doing everything that I could possibly do to try and clear up my skin. Obviously, nothing was working, and to have, you know, almost an acquaintance, because I was pretty new at that point out one of the biggest insecurities of mine in front of the entire office, in front of all these other models who I had just met, was a pretty horrifying experience. But it was definitely something that I needed to go through because it made me realize that, you know, I can see my pimples and it's not like they are completely invisible to everyone else either. So I needed to do something about it. But anyway, that wasn't even the worst experience I had. After Hong Kong, my next overseas contract was a few months of work in Taipei. And when I got there, I was so excited to finally work in Taipei because I had heard so many amazing things about the market there. But my agents were just so straight up. Literally the first thing that they said when I landed in Taipei was,
"Does your skin always look like this? Because if yes, this is going to be a big problem."
I was like,
I don't know, maybe the flight made it worse.
Honestly, at that point, I just had pimples on my skin all the time. So that was the start of a very horrible placement experience in Taipei. Pretty much the same thing was happening when I was in Taipei. I also wasn't getting booked for a lot of beauty campaigns and beauty jobs because of my skin. Even back when I was in Hong Kong, I was getting booked for more fashion magazines, which is really great as well, but those tended to be photos that were more far away where you can't really see like the flaws very up close. But there were a lot of clients who wanted to see me for beauty campaigns, but then as soon as they would see me, they would take a look at my skin and they would be like, okay, never mind, sorry, can't use this girl. Just a quick note about how modeling works in Taipei. Your agent actually goes with you to every single casting to help translate between the model and the clients, which normally can only speak Chinese. And even though I can speak Mandarin totally fine and I could make my way around Taipei without any problems, they still said I had to go with them. But anyway, I remember my breaking point in Taipei was when I was told of this last minute casting one day and that my agent would meet me at the gate for this address and sent me the address. So, you know, I went, I had my little book, I was like really excited to go to this casting, and it turns out that they actually made an appointment for me at a dermatologist's office. And that probably doesn't sound like a big deal, but when I first got there and they had pointed out my problematic skin, they said you have to go to a dermatologist's office as soon as possible because you cannot work in Taipei with your skin like this. And I was like, yeah, of course, you know, as soon as I go back to Singapore, I'll definitely go to a dermatologist's office and get it fixed, for sure, you know, I get it. But they had tricked me to go to the dermatologist. If they had just told me that they set up an appointment, that would have been fine. Like, why did they feel like the need to lie to me about it? It was just such a weird time. So I went in to see the dermatologist with my agent in Taipei, and she had actually wanted the dermatologist to fix my skin within the next few days because I had a job coming up. And the dermatologist looked at her like she was crazy, and she was like, sorry, this is actually gonna take longer than just a few days. It's gonna take at least 3 months because her skin needs to get rid of all the gunk that's stuck in it and all the healthy skin needs to come back out, right? So my contract in Taipei got terminated not long after that. I ended up leaving Taipei way earlier than I had initially planned to, but honestly, I didn't mind because it was just such a toxic work environment because every time I would go to the agency, they would come up and like look at my skin and be like,
not good.
You know? Honestly, there were probably way more experiences that I had where people mentioned my skin, but I just know that every time I went into a casting and I knew that they were going to be looking at my skin because it was a beauty casting, I just felt so embarrassed and I was just a bit like, I'm not gonna get this job because they're gonna see that I have pimples. So those were some of the experiences that I had where it really affected my modeling, and after 5 years of experimenting, trying new products, trying new routines, asking around, and have absolutely nothing work, I knew that this was actually a problem that I needed to fix because this was actually really getting in the way of me doing my job. It wasn't just a one-off client who said that they weren't happy with my skin and so they wanted to give me a pass. It was multiple clients across 2 different countries. Thank God I fixed it, because if I didn't, I would never have been able to work with amazing clients like Chanel and Clarins and Neutrogena and so many other amazing skincare brands, which I am so grateful to have been able to work with. So to find out exactly what I did to get rid of my acne once and for all, be sure to tune into my video next week, because I have so much to say about this. This video is gonna end up being like 30 minutes long if I just do it in one go. Hope you guys found it interesting to hear about some of my experiences with modeling with acne. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.